So I have two little girls, one who is 2 and one who is just about 3 months. And my first daughter, she didn't really have a lot of drool or a lot of spit up. And my second daughter, she is a big drooler. She's always got a little fist in her mouth. And so the tops of her clothes are always getting all covered in spit. So I've been using those baby bandanas quite a bit. I also discovered that I have a whole pile of beautiful muslin swaddles that I never use, so I decided that I would turn some of them into some DIY baby bandanas. I'm Kelsey from roughandtumblefarmhouse.com, and every single week I share content about farming, family food, and fortitude here on our 5-acre homestead in northern Minnesota. So we were gifted a couple of the newbie or nubby, I honestly don't know how it's pronounced, little bandanas, the kinds that have a little bit of a rubber chewy on the bottom. I really liked how these fit. I liked how soft they were with that cotton muslin. I liked that it has the chewy thing on the bottom. I'm not getting that fancy with mine. I am a very novice sewer, so it's kind of a joke almost that I'm sharing this video, but hey, I always like to give people the confidence that if I, a person who's just kind of spitballing it here, can make something nice, then so can you. So the things I liked about it, again, aside from how soft and flexible it was, is I like that it has kind of this extra little bit of fabric on it. If you notice on the back, it is pretty taut versus on the flip side, it has a little bit of kind of extra fabric. And so I tried to emulate that the first time I made one, and the second time I made one, I just made it without trying to make that little extra fabric on the one side, and honestly, both turned out just fine. So to start with, I traced a pattern using the bibs that I already had, and I will have this pattern available for download on the blog. And I just used a washable marker to trace a pattern on muslin because it is such a light material. It's just about impossible to use anything that isn't as soft as a marker. And if you want, you can actually just layer 3 layers of a swaddle if you're using the same one and cut it all at the same time. But if you're doing different patterns or different swaddles, you'll need to trace out a pattern and then cut it out. You also can be a little more efficient with your fabric if you do individual tracings like this. And then you just want to lay them out on top of each other. The fabric can be a little bit finicky, so it works well to kind of start in one top corner of it and then work your way down and around and back up. You want to make sure that you have at least 2 of the sides with the pattern facing each other. So you can see here, the layer has the pattern facing down, the next layer the pattern's facing up, and then it really doesn't matter with the next layer so long as you have at least 2 of them with the right sides together, because we're going to be sewing this and then flipping it inside out. So after that, you want to pin this. I highly recommend pinning it because it is such a soft, flowy fabric and it sticks to itself really easily. So pinning it, I'd say, is a must to make sure that it all lays out nice. And then after you get it pinned, just check the edges to make sure that everything's pretty well matched. If you have anything that's really overhanging one layer that's super long, just trim that off too. And then run it through your sewing machine. I just used a straight stitch. You want something where the stitches are fairly close together because it's a pretty loose fabric. And then after that, just pop it off and snip your thread, and then you're going to turn it inside out. So you want to make sure you leave a small hole. I recommend leaving the hole on a straight section, not on a curved end, just because it's harder to sew after. And then you are going to run a stitch across the entire top layer. You can kind of see it here, kind of a finishing stitch. And then you are going to put on 2 pieces of Velcro. So here is the finished product. It's nothing fancy, but I think it's a really good use for all those swaddles because, again, our swaddles are beautiful and the fabric is so nice, and I find that we just don't use swaddles that much because we have the ones that have Velcro or they're actually kind of swaddled in a different way, or a sleep sack or thing, so our swaddles mostly just end up being piled up somewhere. So it's really nice if you have a big pile of beautiful swaddles and also a baby who has a lot of spit happening, that you can make some really beautiful and cute little baby bandanas that they can wear all the time. So hopefully you have the confidence to go forth and make some of your own baby bibs. Super simple, super affordable, and a great way to use up those swaddles. Thanks so much for watching. You can always find new videos here every single week about farming, family food, and fortitude here at our Rough and Tumble farmhouse.